the bustling streets of Mumbai to the serene backwaters of Kerala, India is a very vibrant marketplace, and it is just you can think of it as a sample of a global marketplace or a global stage where businesses can go beyond borders and cultures. International business is not always just about trading goods. It is also about connecting people, connecting ideas and opportunities across nations. So it is more about, you can say, fostering collaboration and innovation and progress on a global scale. And as future business leaders, it is very crucial for us to understand this dynamic landscape and its intricacies. So, as we delve into the intricacies of international business, let's remember that we are not just studying concepts and theories here, but rather we are preparing ourselves to become global citizens and leaders who can thrive in an ever changing world. Together, let us explore the opportunities, navigate the challenges, and embrace the excitement of international business. Because in the end, it is not just about making deals, it is also about making a difference, both here in India as well as across the globe. Let me provide you with a preview of what awaits us in the following hour. Right? This course is divided, your MMPC 16 of third semester MBA from IGNO is divided into 4 blocks and a total of 13 units. In the first block, we will explore the dynamic nature of international business and the forces that drive it. Like in unit 1 is titled Dynamics of International Business. Here we are setting the stage by delving into the ever-changing nature of international business and the forces that shape it. From technological advancements to geopolitical shifts, we will be examining the factors which influence the global trade and investment. In the second unit, we will explore the phenomena of globalization and its impact on businesses worldwide. We will be discussing how businesses adapt to the evolving global landscape and the paradigm shifts that are brought about by globalization. In the third unit, international business environment, it provides an overview of the international business environment, including the cultural, political, legal, and economic factors. So understanding the complexities of international business environment is crucial, very much crucial for effective decision making as well as strategy formulation. Moving on to block 2, which is titled International Trade, we will explore the theories and frameworks that underpin international trade. So in the fourth unit, we will delve into the agreements and regulations governing global trade. The trade theories, this unit is titled, including those established by World Trade Organization, in which we will focus in unit 5, the agreements of World Trade Organization. In unit 6, we will be focusing on regional trade blocks, examining the emergence and impact of economic unions and trade agreements between countries. That is the 3 units in block 2. Then in block 3, we will explore the different entry strategies for international markets, organizational structures, and the role of strategic alliances. Finally, in block 4, international business functions, this block covers essential functions like international marketing, finance, operations, logistics management, and human resource management. So I'm thrilled to embark on this journey with you, and I'm confident that together we will be able to gain a deeper understanding of the international business management and be ready to drive success and profitability within our organizations. Before we start our discussions, I kindly ask you to take a moment to ensure that you have subscribed to Anu's Classroom. This is my small growing YouTube channel that I have created. I have started to provide you guys who are pursuing IGNO from MBA quality content that can help you not just ace your exams but also understand the concepts better. So that is why I say, if not already, kindly subscribe and enable notifications, because by doing so you can ensure that you never miss an update from Anu's Classroom, and you can fully utilize all the resources that I provide to support your journey towards earning a postgraduate degree from IGNO. And feel free to leave your comments, questions, or any kind of suggestions below in the comment section. I'm here to help you out, so don't hesitate to ask anything. I'll try my best to help you out, to support you as much as possible. Just remember, when you comment, please try to keep your comments professional, like you would in your future managerial role. That is all I ask. International business presents a unique set of challenges when you compare it with domestic trade. And these challenges stem from factors like distance, language barriers, differing customs and laws, and diverse economic and political climates. And navigating through these complexities actually requires a deep understanding of the socio-economic, cultural, and physical environments of each country that is involved. In international business, firms have to adapt and tailor their strategies to fit the diverse landscapes which they encounter. So, parameters like culture, markets, currencies, economic climate, and political factors play a pivotal role in shaping our business decisions when it comes to international markets. But despite these challenges, the allure, or you can say the attraction of international business, lies in the promise of accessing new markets and fresh resources, or even better resources and opportunities for growth and expansion. So, why do firms venture into this international arena? Any guesses? Yeah. Definitely, one compelling reason is the quest for new markets. In an increasingly globalized world, firms definitely are seeking to capitalize on the emerging opportunities that are opening up worldwide, expand their reach beyond their domestic boundaries. Additionally, establishing international customer bases allows firms to cater to evolving consumer preferences and demand patterns. Moreover, international trade barriers often necessitate firms to explore foreign markets as a means of circumventing restrictive measures that are imposed by the governments also. And by doing so, they can overcome the tariffs, the quotas, and regulatory hurdles which impede their access to domestic markets. Furthermore, the pursuit of economies of scale and the desire to stay competitive in the face of global rivals drive firms to go international. And despite these inherent challenges, the rewards that international business offer is also plentiful. If it was only challenges and difficulties, nobody would be willing to take up international business, right? Despite the challenges, the rewards are even more fruitful or looks even more juicy, right? It not just offers economic development and cooperation among nations, but it also promotes innovation, stimulates competition, and contributes to the globalization of business. So, in recent years, the technological advancements and increased competition have further underscored the importance of international business for both host countries as well as the global economy at large. Globalization is a term that you probably might have heard before. Definitely, you would have heard before. But let's break it down and try to understand its significance from a managerial standpoint. So, at the heart of globalization, uh, what we mean or what we are referring to is the integration of economies worldwide. It is all about breaking down the barriers and facilitating the movement of goods, of services, capital, and ideas across borders. So, essentially, when you think about globalization, we picture a world that is becoming one big interconnected community, right? Global village. Now, globalization is not a new phenomena. It's been evolving for centuries, but it really took off in the 20th century with the spread of capitalism. And since then, we have seen a remarkable transformation in how countries interact economically as well as culturally. And one of the most remarkable outcomes of globalization is the integration of economies that we are seeing. This integration of economies have led to greater interdependence among countries. And this interdependence is what is allowing for free flow of goods, services, and capitals across the borders. However, you have to understand this. It is very important to note that globalization is not just about an economic integration. It also involves the merging of cultures, political systems, and patterns of economic development. But globalization is not without its challenges. One major issue here in globalization is the uneven distribution of gains. While some countries have thrived in the global economy, others are struggling to keep up. And this parity, this difference, this can lead to economic disparities and tensions between nations. Furthermore, globalization has made industries more complex also. Functions like finance, marketing, and manufacturing have become more intricate as companies navigate the global marketplace. So, this means that firms have to carefully evaluate their strategies in order to remain competitive on a global scale. If you try to operate just the way you are operating in a domestic market, in the global arena, you are bound to fail. So, you must be very careful about how you are strategizing or what is your strategy when you are going international. So, what are the driving forces behind this globalization? There are four main groups that you can think of when you talk about the driving forces behind globalization. What are these four main groups? Market, cost, government and competition. Market, cost, government and competition. Market drivers include the convergence. That is, convergence means coming together. Okay, convergence of lifestyles and global customers. While economic drivers involve global economies of scale and sourcing efficiencies. Environmental drivers like declining transportation cost also play a role alongside the competitive drivers like interdependence among countries. So for firms operating in a global industry, globalization has strategic implications. Functions like finance and marketing become more complex, and changing government policies can also impact our businesses' operations. International alliances become essential for cutting costs and staying competitive, but they also require careful consideration to ensure that there is compatibility with the partners. So, in conclusion, globalization is a complex and dynamic process that is shaping our world in profound ways. And by understanding its drivers, its implications, and challenges, we can navigate the global landscape more effectively and build a more interconnected and prosperous future for our organizations. Now let us talk about the intricacies of international business environment. Let us start by acknowledging that the international business environment is not a static entity. Rather, it is multifaceted and ever evolving system that is influenced by countless external factors. So this is not a new thing, right? Even when we were talking about the domestic environment, it was dynamic. So there is no chance that we would think international business environment is static, right? So it is one of the major characteristics of international business environment also, that it is very much dynamic, and it is also influenced by more number of external factors than a domestic environment. So these factors, what are these external factors? At least some of them. It is similar to our domestic environment only. These are politics, economics, society, technology, ecology and law. Each of these factors, they play a crucial role in shaping the global marketplace. And to illustrate this, let us consider the current geopolitical landscape. The aggressiveness of certain nations, particularly we have to say People's Republic of China. They are posing significant challenges to the stability of the global economic system. There is no denial to that. Their policies like the debt trap strategy actually underlines the complexities that international businesses have to navigate. Furthermore, international business operations are subject to numerous uncontrollable external forces also. From the uncertainty of foreign trade regimes to the nuances of different political environments, from the evolving economic legislations to the intricacies of cultural interpretations, or from the complexities of legal compliances to the challenges of tax policies, the external environment actually presents a multitude of challenges for businesses that are trying to operate or are operating on a global scale. So to effectively navigate through this complex environment, we as managers have to conduct a thorough analysis of the various factors that are at play. So one such framework for analysis is the PESTEL analysis, which examines the political, economic, social, technological, ecological and legal factors. So let's dive deeper into each of these factors now. What is the political environment? The political environment comprises of the government policies, the political stability and political risks in the target countries that we are trying to expand to. Similarly, economic growth factors would include the GDP growth, the inflation rates and the income levels, as well as the trade policies and economic development of those countries. The social and cultural environment includes the demographics, the lifestyles and cultural norms shaping consumer behavior and market demand. Technological factors include innovation, research and development and automation, driving advancements and opportunities in the global marketplace. So the ecological environment considers the climate change, the environmental regulations and sustainability efforts that influence business practices and operations. And lastly, we have the legal environment. Legal environment encompasses the laws, the regulations and intellectual property rights shaping the legal landscape in which businesses operate. So, understanding these factors becomes imperative for any manager who is concerned with international business. It enables them to assess the risks, identify opportunities, and formulate strategies to navigate through the complexities of a global marketplace. So, up next, is the international, up next in our international business management, we have to learn about the trade theories. So these theories, what are these trade theories? These theories serve as invaluable tools in unraveling. Unraveling means in untangle, right? Or resolve or work out or clear up. അതായത് എന്താ പറയുക, അൺറാവൽ. ഇഫ് യു ഗൈസ് ഡോണ്ട് നോ ദ മീനിങ് ഓഫ് ദാറ്റ് വേർഡ്, ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് എ ന്യൂ വേർഡ് ഫോർ യു. ചുരുളഴിക്കുക ഇസ് വാട്ട് വി സേ ഇൻ മലയാളം. So that is unravel. So it helps, these international trade theories help us unravel the complexities of the global commerce and sheds light on the motivations, the patterns and consequences of trade among different nations. So how can we understand this international trade theory? International trade theories are, as I said, vital frameworks which aid our comprehension of why countries are engaging in trade and specialize in certain goods and services and impact of such activities on their domestic economies. All these things come into picture when we talk about the international trade theory. So at its core, these theories are all rooted in the fundamental premise that countries possess diverse endowments of factors of production, including land, labor and capital. That is just a fancy way of saying that countries have different amounts of land, labor and capital, right? So when countries have different levels or different what you can say distribution of production, including land, labor and capital, what happens? In the global landscape, the countries will start facing the reality that they cannot excel at producing all goods and services efficiently. If the climate is such that if it is a desert area, can they excel in producing tropical fruits? No. Similarly, if it is a rainy area, if the climate is rainy over there or rainforest kind of thing, can they excel at producing dates just the way it happens in deserts? Maybe not, right? So that is the thing. So there comes a concept of opportunity cost. Instead, what happens? They have to deal with the concept of opportunity cost here. So what is this opportunity cost? It is nothing but the cost that is associated with the sacrifice of one good or service for another. So through this lens of opportunity cost, we have to, or we can gain insight into the rationale behind a country's decision regarding production as well as consumption. So it is this opportunity cost which decides what all things are going to be domestically produced, what are things are going to be exported, what are the things that are going to be imported. So how do we analyze such trade policies now? The formulation of a trade policy is multifaceted. It is influenced by many factors like economic objectives, political considerations, and international relations. International trade theories equip policymakers with the analytical tools that are needed to evaluate the potential impacts of various policies on their nation's economy as well as society. So let us look at one important international trade theory, which is Heckscher-Ohlin theory. Heckscher-Ohlin theory. It is important. So what is this Heckscher-Ohlin theory? I hope I'm pronouncing it wrong. You can see it written on your screen. Heckscher-Ohlin theory. So what is this theory? So a cornerstone in the realm of international trade is this Heckscher-Ohlin theory, and it explains how countries determine their production as well as trade patterns based on their factor endowment. Factor endowments means how much land they have, how much money they have, how much manpower they have, skill they have. Those, what that is factor endowments, factors of production. Endowment means how much are they having with. So in economics, it is commonly understood that to be what you can say a factor endowment in economics, it is commonly understood to be the amount of land, labor or capital or entrepreneurship that a country possesses and can exploit for manufacturing. So by leveraging their abundant factors of production, countries can specialize in goods which align with their comparative advantage and therefore foster mutually beneficial trade relationships. Now let us look at the foreign direct investment, FDI theory. Okay, so before we can wind up our discussion on the trade theory and move ahead, we have to explore why companies invest in another country, right? That is the concept of foreign direct investment. We have studied it earlier in first semester, right? Foreign direct investment, what they are, along with FPI, foreign portfolio investment. So why foreign direct investments? So let us break down some of the reasons of why countries opt for this foreign direct investments, FDIs. One is market imperfection. So imagine you have something special that other people might want, like a secret recipe for a delicious cookie. Yum, right? So in the business world, companies have unique advantages, like the secret recipe, like the Coca-Cola secret recipe, KFC's secret recipe, right? So uh, when you talk about it in the business world, it could be great technology or a popular brand or a tasty piece of chicken leg, or what you can say, tasty sugar loaded carbonated black liquid that kills you slowly, right? So sometimes they decide to go to other countries and make the most of such advantages. They might find that the way markets work in those countries may not be perfect, so they can use that special advantage to do well there. So that is market imperfection theory. The second is product life cycle model. Think about how things change over time here. So when a new toy comes out, everybody wants to buy it. When a new car comes out, anybody who is willing or anybody is on the lookout for a new car or has the kind of craze or the amount, the money, they want it. But after a while, the interest will fade, right? So companies are also like that. They start with new ideas and products and then they grow, and eventually they might need to find new places to sell their stuff as things change. So this model, the product life cycle model, helps us understand why companies might be investing in different countries at different stages of their business. The third of FDI theory is internationalization theory. Sometimes companies will need to decide if they should do everything themselves or maybe work with other companies. It is like deciding if you want to bake cookies at home or have someone else bake them for you. Companies think about whether it is better to do things themselves in another country or let someone else there do it for them. So this theory, this internationalization theory, helps us understand how they make such decisions. Then we have eclectic paradigm. Very weird sounding word, right? Even to write also, very weird spelling. Eclectic paradigm. How do I explain this? Imagine you are really good at making cookies. I am not, but I want you guys to imagine, okay? So, and you have a very secret recipe that which makes everybody love your cookies. Now imagine that you have to decide where to sell your cookies. Do you sell them in your neighborhood or do you send them to other places? So the eclectic paradigm actually helps us understand how companies decide in such cases. They think about what makes them special, where they are, and how much it will cost to sell in different places. And then they will pick the best way to sell those cookies, that is the products or the services, either by making them in another country or let someone else make it there for them. So that is the eclectic paradigm. So I hope you understood the Heckler-Ohlin theory and the various FDI theories. Let us move on to the next topic. So no discussion on international businesses can be complete without discussing about WTO. What is WTO? World Trade Organization. So the World Trade Organization is a crucial body which is comprising of 164 member countries. It was established in 1995 to oversee international trade agreements and ensure that there is smooth trade flows. It evolved from the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, that is GATT, which aimed to reduce the trade barriers and foster international cooperation since 1948. What are the functions and principles of this WTO? WTO aims to promote transparency, non-discrimination and predictability in global trade. So its principles include non-discrimination, openness, competitiveness, environmental protection, benefits for less developed countries and predictability. And these principles are what guide trade negotiations and dispute resolution. Organizational structure. At the top is the Ministerial Conference, where trade ministers from member countries will meet up and make decisions. This is how WTO is organized. The General Council, there is Goods Council, Services Council and Intellectual Property Council. There are these many councils which oversee various aspects of the trade agreements and the implementation. And what are the key agreements? Right? The unit itself is about WTO agreements. So what are the key agreements of WTO? The WTO administers several key agreements including GATT, GATS for services, TRIPS, TRIPS for intellectual property, and agreements on agriculture, anti-dumping, subsidies and trade facilitation. So these agreements are sets of rules for international trade, and they are ratified by the member parliaments also. So this WTO, it is a continuously evolving organization. It addresses evolving trade issues like regional trade agreements, e-commerce, labor standards, and environmental concerns. So these issues are discussed in various committees also to adapt to the changing global trade dynamics. And the trade policy review mechanism of WTO actually enhances transparency and understanding of member countries' trade policies. So it involves regular notifications by members and reviews by the WTO Secretariat to ensure that there is compliance with the WTO rules. India has benefited from the WTO membership. Yes, India is a member of WTO. It is one of the 164 member countries, and therefore we have benefited from this WTO membership. But at the same time, it faces challenges in fully leveraging the global trade opportunities. While tariff reductions and trade agreements have brought gains, internal reforms are also crucial for sustained economic growth, especially in manufacturing. India's service sector, particularly IT service sector, has thrived under WTO's liberalized investment regime, which is actually what contributes to the economic success of IT firms these days. So I hope you were able to understand the vital role that is played by WTO in shaping the global trade and promoting fairness and facilitating economic growth. Adherence to WTO principles and agreements fosters stability, predictability, and cooperation in the international trading system, benefiting member countries worldwide. So now I'm moving on to the next topic. I hope that you have understood, at least got a general idea of WTO agreements and what you can expect in this unit, right? So let us move on to the next topic. So we are now going to explore regional trade blocs. So these are coalitions. Coalitions means associations, okay? These are associations of countries within a specific geographic region that establish common trade policies to promote economic integration. So essentially, they are like economic partnerships between countries in a particular area. Now, there are various types of such trade blocs, and each have its own level of integration and cooperation. Like, for example, some focus solely on reducing tariffs and barriers to trade, whereas others might go a step further and allow for free movement of goods or services or capital and even people among member countries. So, you might now be thinking, why are these trade blocs so important, right? We have WTO agreements, we have trade theories. Now, why do you need these trading blocs? And so, well, let me try to explain to you in this way. Maybe hopefully you will understand about trade blocs and their importance much better. They offer numerous benefits. What are these benefits? They reduce barriers to trade, right? So what happens when the barriers to trade are reduced? When barriers to trade reduce, that we are opening up new areas to expand to, that is, our market is becoming expanded. So what happens? Naturally, our industries, our businesses, they can produce more, they can increase the production, and therefore when production increases, economies of scale comes in. Okay, so that leads to greater efficiency and greater competitiveness. So they also help countries specialize in what they are good at and also facilitate the efficient allocation of resources too. So ultimately, you can say they promote global trade and economic growth. So along with such WTO and such agreements, this trade blocs boost it much more further, take it to what you can say much more further. So there had been a proliferation, that is a rapid increase of such trade blocs in the recent years because of the said benefits. And there are multiple reasons also for it. One major reason is the liberalization of the global trade policies under organizations like WTO, World Trade Organization. And additionally, these trade blocs provide a platform for enhanced trade and investment among member states, helping to boost economic activity within that particular trade bloc region. However, it is not all sunshine and rainbows. These trade blocs can have mixed impacts on the welfare of countries. While they can lead to income gains and trade creation, they can also result in transitional cost and trade diversion, which may not always benefit everyone who are involved in such trade blocs. Now, let us take a closer look at some of the major examples of regional trade blocs. So, these include agreements like the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, which replaced NAFTA, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, that is ASEAN, Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation is there, APEC, European Union is there, EU, that you might all be familiar with, right? At least EU you guys will be familiar with. Speaking of the EU, Actually, history is quite fascinating. It actually originated from the post-World War II cooperation efforts, and it has evolved over the years into one of the most successful regional economic grouping in the world. It has 27 member countries today. You might be wondering which all trade blocs are we, India, part of, right? So India is also part of several regional trade blocs and cooperation agreements, and some of the major prominent ones which I would like to quote here are the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, SARC. SARC Uchchagodi and all you might have heard, right? Asia Pacific Trade Agreement, APTA, Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, CECA, Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, that is with Singapore. Such various trade blocs we are also part of. So I hope you got a comprehensive overview of the concepts which will be discussed when you open your book. You'll see all these concepts discussed obviously in much more detail. So in this particular unit, these are the things that are discussed. So I hope you got an overview of all the topics here. Now let us move on to the next section, the next unit, because this is the maximum I can provide you with in a rapid roundup session. So let us talk about the critical considerations for organizations that are venturing into global expansion. Particularly here we will be focusing our attention on the impact of the environmental factors on the market entry. So this involves a comprehensive analysis of all the prevailing business environment, which we can efficiently conduct through a pestle analysis. And this assessment not only helps us in selecting the appropriate market to be ventured into, but it also helps us in determining the suitable entry mode. And we must not be neglecting the significance of evaluating various external factors like market attractiveness, country risks, in terms of both political as well as operational risks, government policies, timing, internal capabilities, and cost benefit analysis. So these factors collectively influence the decision making process of market entry. Among these, the country attractiveness factor. This in particular plays a pivotal role, with market and industry opportunities being other key aspects for consideration. Now we shall discuss the 6 fundamental conceptual approaches for market entry. First is the Uppsala model. UPPSALA, Uppsala model, which advocates for gradual expansion based on the prior experience. Then we have transaction cost analysis. This focuses on minimizing cost in business transaction. There is eclectic theory, or you can another word for it is the contingency approach, which considers ownership specific factors and location advantages. The industrial network approach, this emphasizes the interdependence between firms and their networks. Then we have the business strategy approach, which involves making pragmatic decision making through trade-offs. The bargaining power approach, where entry mode choices will or stems from negotiations with the host country's government. Each of these theories provide unique insights into the internationalization process, contingent upon the availability of market information and specific organizational circumstances. Now we will also have a look at the various market entry modes and strategies that are available to organizations. These encompass direct and indirect exporting, joint ventures, licensing, and greenfield projects. The selection of a suitable entry mode actually hinges on factors like internal stability, risk tolerance, and scalability that is aligned with long-term growth and profit objectives. By understanding how environmental factors can impact the market entry and carefully considering these influences, our organizations can devise robust strategies for global expansion, thereby enhancing their prospects for success in international markets. Organizational structure is again a fundamental aspect of management which profoundly influences how businesses would be operating and how businesses could achieve their goals. So organizational structure is what refers to the framework which dictates how tasks or responsibilities and authority are distributed within an organization. It is like the blueprint of building which outlines how different parts of the organization is going to fit together and create a cohesive whole. Now let us try to explore the various types of organizational structures. So we have the functional structure of an organization. What is the functional structure? In this type of structure, employees are grouped based on their specialized functions. Okay, functional structure, grouping based on functions. So what are the functions? marketing, finance, operations, like that. So it is like having separate departments for each key function within the organization. The next type of structure is the divisional structure. So here organization is divided into separate units or say divisions based on products or services or geographic regions. And each division operates almost like a standalone entity focusing on a particular specific area. A very important type of organizational structure that you must be aware of is the matrix structure, because most organizations work in matrix structure, at least the private organizations, the big ones. So this structure actually blends elements of both functional structure and divisional structure. Employees will be reporting to both the functional manager, that is like the marketing manager, and product or project manager, which creates a dual line of authority. A little bit complicated structure, because sometimes employees might get confused as to whom to report, what to do, and all those things, but very important nonetheless. Then we have the geographic structure. In a geographic structure, the organization is organized based on different geographic regions, and this becomes particularly useful for multinational companies that operate in diverse locations, allowing for localized decision making. The last type of structure which we will touch upon here is the hybrid structure. As the name suggests, a hybrid structure combines elements from the various organizational structures that we have discussed to suit the specific needs of our organization. So it is like mixing and matching different pieces to create a structure which will work best for us. Now, each of these structures do come with its own set of pros and cons. For example, if you talk about a functional structure, it promotes specialization and efficiency within departments. But at the same time, it may lead to silos and communication barriers between functions. On the other hand, if you think about a divisional structure, such a structure fosters flexibility and customer focus, but it can result in duplication of resources across divisions. When it comes to globally engaged businesses, the choice of organizational structure becomes even more crucial. These businesses operate across different countries and cultures, facing unique challenges and opportunities. So, one key consideration is the balancing of autonomy and integration. While subsidiaries need autonomy to adapt to the local markets, the parent company requires integration so as to implement a cohesive global strategy. So, that is very important. And beyond just the structure, organizational factors like the management process, people, the culture, all these things also play a crucial role in shaping a company's ability to succeed globally. So it is not just the structure here. Management processes, that is what actually determine how decisions are made, how this said decisions are executed, and whereas it is the people who bring those strategies to life through their skills and their expertise. So culture, meanwhile, culture influences how employees behave and interact within the organization, impacting everything from communication to decision making. And so, with this, let us wrap up the discussion on organizational structure when we talk about business, international business. Next up in the section, we will be talking about a very important concept for businesses, not just in the international domain, but also universally for any particular business, that is strategic alliance. Strategic alliances are voluntary agreements between firms, and these are aimed at achieving a common objective through collaboration. So, these strategic alliances play a crucial role in helping businesses gain that competitive advantage, access new markets, and leverage resources as well as expertise. So, let us begin by understanding the type of strategic alliances that you could come across in an international arena. First is coalition. Coalition, this type of alliance involves competitors, distributors, and suppliers within the same industry pooling their resources and capabilities to gain a stronger foothold in global markets. For example, we have the Star Alliance network in the airline industry. If you want to know more about Star Alliance, STAR, okay, Star Alliance, I'd suggest you just Google it out. It's a very interesting read. Star Alliance is one of the largest and it is one of the most well-known airline alliances in the world, which got established in 1997 as a collaborative network between several major airlines to provide passengers with a seamless travel experience. And it includes extensive route networks, shared facilities, and coordinated schedules and things like that. So the Star Alliance is comprised of member airlines from around the globe, including both full service carriers as well as regional airlines. And some of the prominent members airlines of the Star Alliance include Lufthansa, United Airlines, Air Canada, Singapore Alliance, ANA, All Nippon Airways, and many others. The second type of form of strategic alliance is co-specialization. What is co-specialization? In co-specialization alliance, firms with unique capabilities will come together and develop new products or new technology. So each partner will contribute a unique asset or a resource or competence, and this will lead to mutual benefits. So an example of this co-specialization collaboration between India and Japan was to develop the 5th and 6th generation technologies. Then we have something called as learning alliance. So this alliance is formed with the primary goal of facilitating knowledge exchange and learning between partners. By sharing expertise and best practices, partners aim to improve their capabilities and competitiveness. Learning alliances are often seen in research and development projects. So it is important to note here that the strategic alliances can take various forms, including contractual or equity based alliance. So what is contractual alliance? This involves agreements like co-marketing, research and development contracts, or turnkey projects, strategic suppliers, distributors, or licensing, franchising, such things. These are contractual alliances. Then we have equity-based alliances. These alliances require higher commitments and involve activities like strategic investment, cross-shareholding, joint ventures, things like that. Now let us talk about the management of such strategic alliances. A management of strategic alliance involves several key stages. First comes partner assessment. This stage involves carefully evaluating potential partners to assess their strength, weakness, and compatibility with our organization's objectives. So it becomes very crucial to identify partners whose capabilities complement our own and align with our strategic goals. Next step comes on the next stage is contract negotiation. So once suitable partners have been identified, we have to negotiate the terms of alliance and agree with it, right? So this could include defining objectives, contributions, and responsibilities of each partner. Here, clear communication and mutual understanding becomes very much essential during this stage so as to avoid any kind of conflicts later on. The third stage is alliance operation. So with an agreement in place, the focus will now shift to the operational aspect of our alliance. Senior management commitment is vital here, along with establishing governance mechanisms and communication channels to facilitate smooth operation and decision making. At the last stage comes alliance termination. So despite efforts to make alliance successful, not all partnership would yield the desired results. So the termination stage involves evaluating whether the alliance has met its objectives and winding up the partnership if at all necessary in a very structured manner. How do we implement all this? The final stage is implementing. So integrating the alliance into day-to-day operations of the participating firms is the what you can say is a very crucial stage here. So it requires collaboration among teams, sharing of resources, and continuous learning to adapt to the changing circumstances. So throughout all the stages of alliance implementation, effective communication, collaboration, and trust are what is essential for the success of strategic alliances. So by carefully managing these partnerships, firms can harness the collective strength of their partners and achieve common goals and drive business growth. International marketing represents a cornerstone of modern business strategy, enabling firms to expand their reach and drive growth, capitalize on global opportunities. And by understanding market dynamics, consumer behavior, and entry strategies, businesses can embark on successful international ventures, fueling innovation and sustainable growth in an increasingly interconnected world. But before we go deep into the nuances of this international marketing, firstly, let us understand how it differs from domestic marketing. Domestic marketing involves promoting and selling products or services within the confines of a single country, right? So the sole focus here is on the needs and preferences of our local consumers. So, but when it comes to international marketing, on the other hand, it the market extends beyond our nation's borders. It encompasses multiple countries and catering to diverse cultural, linguistic, and market dynamics. So that is the major important distinguishing factor here. So, and why do firms venture into international markets? We already said there are multiple reasons, right? The allure of global expansion, there is profitability. If you tap into overseas markets, then firms can unlock new revenue streams and bolster their bottom line. Growth, right? It helps businesses expand, diversify, propel companies towards higher growth trajectories. It can reach economies of scale. It can diversify the risks. When you diversify into international markets, then the risks of your firm also gets diversified. So even if one country is having some economic fluctuations, the other country might be stable or maybe booming. So there comes a buffer against downturns in specific regions. Access to resources, access to raw materials, talent pools, all these things become much more what you can say sophisticated, much more easier, and therefore it could lead to innovation and competitiveness. Then each market presents unique demands and preferences. So firms will have that opportunity to tailor their products and services and meet diverse consumer demands. Market saturation, it will take time to reach saturation in a global market, more time than it would take for saturation point in domestic markets. Technological advancements also comes up as when we operate internationally, when what you can say there will be seamless connectivity and market penetration will be accessible, or we can get access to more and more technology than what is available to us domestically alone. Similarly, cultural exchanges, they could drive demand for particular products or services in the international markets. So this offers avenues for cross-cultural collaboration and commerce. Similarly, tax incentives. Favorable tax regimes in certain countries could incentivize firms to establish a presence in the international markets, optimizing their financial performance. Similarly, free trade agreements. If we are participating in trading blocks and free trade agreements, then it could foster cross-border trade and investment and expand our market access and opportunity. So, all these compelling reasons in mind, firms would devise effective strategies to enter and navigate international market. So how do we enter into the international market? There are three primary modes with which a firm could choose to enter into international markets. First is, and one of I think the most simplest form of international expansion, it involves trading goods and services across borders, export and import. What happens here is companies can leverage the existing production capabilities and market opportunities while expanding to or expanding their presence abroad. Then the second type of entry is through subsidiaries. Establishing subsidiaries in foreign markets would grant firms a physical presence and operational autonomy, enabling deeper market penetration and localized adaptation. Joint ventures. Collaborating with local partners through joint ventures facilitates market entry, leveraging shared resources, expertise, and market knowledge. However, successful international marketing actually hinges on understanding the consumer behavior in diverse cultural contexts. Cultural, social, personal, and psychological factors will be influencing the purchasing decision, necessitating tailored marketing strategies and approaches when it comes to international markets. So, factors like language, region, religion, education, political systems, all these things could further shape our consumer preferences and behaviors, demanding very what you can say custom made market segmentation and targeting, very precise. We will have to segment our market and target our audience. And to select international market, distribution channels and prospective buyers, again firms will have to conduct thorough market research and analysis. Sources like trade fairs or export promotion councils, international directories, all these things provide invaluable insights into the market size, the growth potential, competitive landscape, and regulatory environment. Leveraging on this information, firms can strategically position themselves in target markets and forge distribution partnerships and engage with prospective buyers to drive business growth. Finally, executing successful export entails meticulous planning and execution, from obtaining regulatory approvals and quality certifications to securing transportation and financing. Each step demands attention to detail and adherence to international trade protocols. So, by following a structured approach and leveraging available resources, firms can navigate the complexities of international trade and unlock the vast opportunities that are presented by global markets. Finance, as we all now know, is the lifeblood of all business activities. And when firms go international, we have to know the process, the parties involved, and the papers that are required to successfully leverage the internationally available financial services. So, let us try to understand the intricate workings of the global financial system now. And let us try to explore the mechanisms, what are the or who are the key players, and what is the impact on of these financial services on the international trade and investment. So, the global financial system actually encompasses a vast network of institutions and regulators which operate at an international level. And with the aim, these services or these network of institutions, they operate with the aim of managing international trade and ensuring that there is financial stability and also to foster the economic growth. So, at its core, we have institutions like the International Monetary Fund, that is IMF, the Bank, then the regional development banks are also there, like the Asian Development Bank and all. So these entities, they collaborate with the national institutions and government departments to regulate and facilitate financial transactions on a global scale. Central to the global financial system is the management of exchange rate risk, which hinges on a company's attitude towards risk and reward. Exchange risk management strategies therefore vary based on factors like risk tolerance, profit motivation, and market conditions. Companies may opt for full hedging or selective hedging or casual hedging approaches depending upon the risk appetite and the financial objectives that they are after. Utilizing techniques like risk management grid can also aid companies in optimizing their exchange risk management strategies through analyzing the currency trends and maximizing profits. The international monetary system, meanwhile, is what governs the exchange rates between currencies and has evolved through various stages over time. So how this international monetary system that governs the exchange rate, how it has evolved? Initially it was the classic gold standard, right? Money was pledged against gold. Then in the interwar period and afterwards, there came the Bretton Woods era, and later on, when there was a time when US was not able to, what you can say, what is that word, I forgot. So US was not able to exchange dollars instead of gold because there was too much US dollars in circulation, mostly because of duplication of money. So what happened, the Bretton Woods system was dropped. So and later on also, depending upon the various circumstances, nowadays there have been multiple systems every time. Frequently the system keeps changing to adapt to the economic landscape and the geopolitical dynamics of the world. Key institutions like IMF and World Bank and the World Trade Organization, these are the institutions which play pivotal roles in shaping as well as regulating the international monetary system, alongside the foreign exchange market, which facilitates currency exchange and trading across borders. So, the international flow of funds actually refers to the movement of money across national borders for trade, investment, and other commercial activities. Factors like economic conditions, political stability, and government policies influence the flow of funds, with the global financial system acting as a facilitator and regulator for these transactions. The balance of payments, that is BOP, which we have studied earlier in the previous semesters. The balance of payment serves as an essential tool for monitoring the international monetary transactions and providing insights into a country's economic health and financial stability. Investment is there, FDI, which encompasses both foreign investment, it encompasses both FDI, foreign direct investment, and FPI, foreign portfolio investment. So these two features, or these two types of foreign investment, that also plays a crucial role in driving the economic growth and development of a nation as well as a business. FDI involves investment in the physical assets and infrastructure, whereas FPI involves investment in the financial assets like stocks and bonds. So naturally, FDI gives you a claim on the business, gives you a say, a power over the business, whereas through FPI you don't have any such thing. Both these types of investment, they offer benefits to both the home country as well as the host country, including capital inflows, infrastructure development, as well as enhanced employment opportunities. Finally, you have to think about the payment, right? Payment terms in international trade, they dictate the terms of the financial transactions between the buyer and the seller. We have options like payment in advance, open account, document against payment, documents against acceptance, letter of credit. So these are some of the common payment terms which are used in international trade, each with its own implications for risk and financial management. So the choice of payment terms will depend on factors like the nature of goods that is being bought or sold, the size of the transaction, the credit worthiness of the parties who are involved. All these things, these factors, they all highlight the importance of careful analysis and consideration in international trade transactions. So, in essence, the global financial system serves as the backbone of international trade and investment, facilitating economic exchange and fostering growth and development across borders. And understanding its intricacies and dynamics is definitely essential for businesses, policymakers, and stakeholders who are navigating this complex landscape of global finance as well as commerce. Before we can talk about international operations and logistics management, we have to have a clear understanding about the term logistics management, supply chain management, and operations management. I'm sure you guys already have an awareness of these terms, especially since we had MMPC 9 in the second semester. So, but still, let us refresh what these terms mean, because this is only by properly understanding these terms can we understand their distinct yet interrelated roles in the efficient functioning of a business, particularly on the global scale. And so that we have to talk about international operations and logistics management. So, logistics management, it encompasses the planning, implementation, and control of the flow and storage of goods and related information from origin to consumption, with the focus on meeting customer requirements efficiently and cost effectively. In contrast, when you think about supply chain management, SCM, it involves the management and coordination of materials, information, and funds across the entire supply chain, starting from suppliers to consumers. It encompasses procurement, production, and distribution operations. Coming to operations management, on the other hand, it is concerned with the overseeing of the production of goods and services, ensuring efficiency and effectiveness in business operations. So, international operations and logistic management will extend these principles of operations management, of supply chain management, logistics management, all these things. These principles will be extended to the global arena, encompassing strategic issues like international production strategies, logistics management, service operations, retailing, supply chain management, things like that. So, the key consideration in international operations management will include sourcing strategies, the production coordination, logistics optimization, and supply chain integration, all aimed at gaining a sustainable competitive advantage in international markets. Effective international logistics management involves the orderly movement of material, money, machine, and man within the logistics system to ensure timely and efficient delivery of goods and services to customers worldwide. So, components like transportation, warehousing, inventory management, and security play crucial roles in this process. Outsourcing and integrated logistics services are also common strategies that are employed to optimize logistic operations, allowing firms to focus on core competencies while ensuring professional management of logistics functions. In international service operations and retailing, capacity planning, location planning, facilities layout and design, and inventory management are among the key considerations for successful operations. Supply chain management is also again vital in the international retailing. It requires effective coordination of the flow of goods and services from suppliers to end users. International supply chain management actually represents a holistic approach, a 360-degree approach to managing the supply chain on a global scale, integrating processes, predicting the future demand, customizing operations, and delivering superior value propositions to customers worldwide. So, in summary, you can say effective management of logistics, supply chain, operations, and international operations is essential for businesses that are seeking success in today's global marketplace, and it requires careful planning, coordination, and execution across all facets of business operations. International Human Resource Management, IHR. This is again another vital aspect of modern businesses in our increasingly globalized world. Let us explore why understanding IHR, or International Human Resource Management, becomes crucial, what is its scope, what are the key considerations, and some of the best practices when we are dealing with international human resources or human resources in the international arena, internationally. So, firstly, in our interconnected world, businesses are definitely, they are expanding across borders, and they are leading to diverse workforces with employees who are coming from different cultural backgrounds. So, IHRM equips organizations with the tools to manage this diversity effectively, fostering inclusive and harmonious work environments. Secondly, talent acquisition. Talent acquisition and retention are again paramount for organizations with global aspirations. IHRM helps attract and retain skilled employees who can contribute to the organization's success in the international market. Thirdly, managing expatriate employees. Those who are assigned to work in foreign countries, they require specialized knowledge and skills. So, IHRM provides the framework for selecting, training, and supporting expatriates to ensure their successful deployment and performance abroad. The scope of IHRM encompasses a range of activities. including human resource planning, staffing, training, performance management, compensation, and labor relations. Cross cultural issues like language barriers and cultural differences are also central to IHRM, necessitating a deep understanding of diverse cultural norms and practices. Effective international recruitment and selection process are again crucial for identifying the right candidates for international assignments. Training and development programs play a vital role in preparing expatriates for success in foreign environments. The approaches to international compensation may include the balance sheet approach, which aims to maintain the home country's living standard, plus the financial inducement, and the going rate approach, which is based on local market rates and it relies on survey comparisons of local nationals, expatriates of the same nationality, and the expatriates of all nationalities. The key components of international compensation program may include basic salary, foreign service inducement, or hardship premium, and allowances such as cost of living, housing, home leave, education, relocation, and spouse assistance, and other benefits also as per the company policy. The compensation program may vary from organization to organization. It need not be the same for yours and your friend's company. All in all, we can say that IHRM is totally indispensable for organizations who aim to operate in the globalized world because it enables them to manage diverse workforces, attract talented employees, and deploy expatriates effectively so as to achieve their international business objectives. So, with that, we have covered all the major aspects of international business as stipulated in MMPC 16 of IGNO's MBA as per the new syllabus. I hope you found this session useful. I hope you didn't feel that the time you spent on Anu's classroom in this session was not worth it, right? So, in case you have, I hope that you have subscribed to the channel and also enabled notifications. Thank you so much for tuning into classroom. I hope to catch up with you in the next session. All the very best for your examination. Bye bye. Take care.